Are we on? Are we rolling? We are. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video we're gonna be doing the long awaited After We Fell book review. You guys saw, if you didn't, you need to go watch it, but you guys should have already seen my After and After We Collided book review on my channel. I decided to obviously do this one because I read it. This took me on an emotional roller coaster. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I literally had so much to write down about this book. It's freaking ridiculous. I'm also, in spirit of the book, I'm wearing a After movie inspired Tessa inspired outfit or whatever. So I read this book. I'm not gonna lie, this one took me a lot longer. Obviously it's thicker than the rest of the books. Also, I'm not gonna lie, this book kind of got me to the point where I was like, not fed up, but I was kind of like, oh my god, like, is it ever gonna be over? Like, come on. Like, I feel like I'd get to a certain point and then I'd be like, it got boring. And like, I'm not gonna lie, I hated reading about Tessa in this book. Like, it's like everything was about Tessa. Everything like was her way of the highway. Like, if she got mad, she tried to use it against Hardin. Like, I wasn't having it. Like, don't mess with my boo like that. Don't do that. Anyway, read about Hardin. It just shows how much of a person he is and how much he grows, and love him. Hey, this book definitely made me cry. Like, pretty much through the entire book, I was bawling about something. Like, I'm a sensitive person as it is, and to think that, like, if Hardin walked away from the conversation, or if Tessa tried to cheat, or if Tessa tried to do this or whatever, which she doesn't cheat, I don't know why I said that, but anyway, if Tessa was to, like, make him jealous or something, like, it literally made me mad. I was like, can you not? Like, homeboy's out here, like, doing stuff with his life, and you're being petty. Like, this is not high school. Like, grow up. Off with After We Collided was Tessa's in the tattoo parlor shop or whatever after Hardin had got a tattoo for her, and she bumps into this really old, ugly looking homeless guy, and it turns out to be her dad. Takes in her dad with open arms, and that didn't frustrate me, but I guess in a way, like, as much as she had always said, like, even in the movies and the books, and she was just like, my dad basically was kind of like, you know, he wasn't like Hardin's, but he was like never there. Hardin made me a proud chick, okay? I literally would have proudly been able to call him like my love, like my life, my lifeline, freaking my boyfriend, my whatever you want to call him, okay? I literally think in this book he grew so much as a person. Like, yeah, you would think like Tessa, like, oh my god, like at the very beginning you feel really bad for Tessa because of the bet and blah 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 blah. Yeah, like in the first book you're actually like so like in love with Tessa's character, it's ridiculous. And then you meet Hardin's like perspective and After We Collided, and it becomes this whole like ordeal, and you don't understand why he is the way he is, but it starts to slowly become understandable. And then when you get introduced to this book, you actually understand a lot more, and he grows a lot more in this book, and it's ridiculous. And I loved seeing that part of Hardin. It like I said in the last book review I did, it was he was more vulnerable, but not like vulnerable, that's not the word I'm using, or that's not the word I want, but he was more like, instead of telling Tessa how he felt, like, we knew how he felt. Like, and I liked knowing that, even if Tessa didn't get to know. The book starts out with them going on a trip with Landon's family to a like a cabin or something. They just had hot tub sex, and she got really mad when she found out that he basically ruined her chances to get into this apartment in Seattle, and she told him, like, get out, like, goodbye, I don't want to see you. Running into this girl named Lillian, which we find out later on in the book is actually his family's friend's daughter. She's gay, so there was nothing like going on between them, but he did use her to make Tessa jealous, which made me mad. So they end up having this party, like going away party or whatever, because Tessa tries to act like she's got balls and like she's the greatest freaking human, and girl ends up going out to lunch with Steph. I think it's just Steph, and Molly somehow ends up coming. Like, Steph's like, oh my god, we're gonna throw you like this huge going away party for you and Hardin, and at the time Hardin wasn't sure he was gonna move to Seattle. He was like strong on the idea, like, nope, not doing it. And Tessa was like trying to reel him to go and like convince him that it was a good opportunity for both of them. It happened between Tessa and Hardin that made them not split, like, well, maybe, yeah, it was split. Like, they like broke up, like they were taking their off again type thing, and she went to the party by herself just to prove a point. Ended up drinking cherry sour beer or something. I don't know. Anyways, ended up a cherry sour vodka drink or something that she was obsessed with that Zed had showed her one time. I think it was Zed that gave it to her one time. But there was a drug in it, and Zed found out, like, so they were in the middle of talking, like Zed and Tessa were in the middle of talking, and he was like, what is that? And she's like, oh, it's this, like, it's that cherry sour vodka. That's, who gave you that? And she was like, Steph. And he's like, oh, hell no. And he, like, dips. And he's like going to find her. Dan, which is Molly's boyfriend, I want to say, at the time of this book, ends up coming into the, like, picture, like, kitchen or whatever. And he's like, oh, Tessa, like, hello, like, let's go upstairs or whatever. Upstairs. And he's starting to, like, I want to say he's starting to feel on her and, like, kiss her and, like, touch her and stuff. And he, like, throws her on the bed. I want, not, like, literally, like, chucks her, like, here's fly, Superwoman. Like, takes her and, like, puts her on the bed and tries to get on top of her. And then she's trying to, like, you know, get free, but she can't. So she starts to panic. And then Steph walks in and she's like, oh my God, thank God, like, my friend's here. And she's, like, trying to scream for Steph to help. And Steph was like, I'm not your friend. And straight up was gonna let him do that to her. I was so pissed. Oh my God. I literally have never cried so hard in my life. Reading that, whoo, it's so serious. I had to put the paper down. Like, that's how serious it was. Like, I literally, oh my God. Reading that literally fucked me up. Like, no joke. She can hear everything that's going on. She can see everything that's going on, but the drug makes it to where she can't speak. And when she speaks, it's like, literally doesn't make any sense. So she'd be like, Steph, please, or whatever. And this time she's not as loopy, but she's getting that to that point. So it's like, ugh. Homegirl almost gets raped. And if you guys remember, I think I've touched briefly on it, but I'm not sure if I touched that much on it. So Hardin had, you know, in his past made videos of girls and him having sex with them, and he humiliated them. So Natalie was one of the girls, obviously. Dan is Natalie's older brother. We're gonna film Tessa and not actually, like, have sex with her, but they were gonna make it look like that so Hardin would get mad. He was actually, like, touching up on her thigh and stuff, and, like, in my head I was thinking, like, that's hella leading up to PTSD, and I could really see her, like, not wanting Hardin to touch her. Thankfully, there's a knock at the door, and so it's Tristan at first. Tristan knocks on the door and she's like, well, I say she because I'm talking about, like, Pia Mia, not the he in the book. Knocks on the door and he's like, Steph, like, what are you doing or whatever? And Steph's like, I'll be out in a minute, whatever. Boom. So Tristan goes downstairs. Molly even comes in the room at one point, and Molly feels so bad. Molly's like, this was not the plan. Like, this was not what we were gonna do. Like, what are you doing? Like, you were not gonna film her. Like, that's just not happening. So she was like, if you don't want to be part of this, then get the hell out. So homegirl dips, as would anyone else. Zed knocks on the door and he's like, what is going on? Zed knocks the door down when he hears Tessa scream, and he's like, get the hell off of her. And he's like, homeboy to the rescue, like, don't play. Tramples over top of them, basically find out that she was jealous that Hardin wanted her and not Steph. What makes me mad is that the going away party was for her and Hardin, so I want to know if it would have still happened had Hardin been there. Anyway, speaking of Hardin, Molly, of all freaking people, calls Hardin, and she's like, can barely make words out. And keep in mind, like, Hardin and Tessa are, like, mad at each other right now. So Molly's like the last person he's thinking will call him. So Molly's like the last person he thinks about calling him, and she calls like 4 times. Like, that's how serious it was. And keep in mind, she doesn't like Tessa. So, like, I'm sitting here like, what the hell? Why would she have called 4 times? Like, if it wasn't that big of a deal to her. So after, like, the 4th time ringing, he's like, what do you want? Like, leave me alone. And she's like, dude, like, it's about Tessa. And he drops his feet, stands up, and he's like, what's going on? And he's like, so she's like, so there's this party that we threw or whatever, and Dan tried to touch her, and Steph drugged her, and his ass is like next flight over, like, not next flight, like, he's in the same freaking state, but he drives immediately over there. And by that time, Zed has already taken Tessa to her mom's. So over this amount of time, Tessa ends up choosing to go to Seattle. This homegirl still speaking to Trevor and Zed, which obviously Trevor works at Vance Publishing with her in Seattle, so it makes no sense why she wouldn't be talking to Trevor. And Zed gets on my nerves. I don't care who the hell ships Zessa. No. Like, so what I forgot to mention, I don't know if I said, I want to say that I said it in my last book review, but we found out during, like, Steph drugging Tessa that it was Steph that sent the text from Hardin to Tessa, making it look like he stood her up. And I was really, really proud of Hardin. He really, really grew as a person. Gave Tessa a lot of space even though he really didn't want to. Even like, at one point in the book, I think he was so mad, he like drove all the way to like the liquor store and like bought vodka and literally came home, and like this was the turning point, knowing that Hardin was going to be a better man, I guess you'd say, was he poured the whole thing of vodka down the sink. Kickboxing classes, and he actually had went to it and really liked it, and it helped him take his anger out, so he did that, and he went to the gym on a regular. So instead of like taking his anger out on arguments with Tessa or beating someone up or punching a wall and breaking his hand, he literally just took it out on the classes in the gym. Ended up surprising Tessa in Seattle, and it wasn't like a, oh my god, like, Hardin, what are you doing here? Like, you know, like it was like a Hardin type of thing. A really huge turning point that I just looked down and saw on my piece of paper, which is crazy. I literally, and this is how you know, because if you guys have read the books, you'd know Hardin is not the type that would have done this in the past. His dad came back and literally was a drunk and drug addict mess. Like, so bad. And Hardin, as much as he did not want to take care of him, he literally took care of him and helped him sober up so that Tessa would, he loved Tessa that much that he was willing to go through that for her. And at one point, she found out that her dad was back, and she was like, what aren't you telling me? And he was like, trust me, just let me handle it. Like, if you trust me, you'll let me handle it. In the process of this, Tessa is going to see a doctor about getting birth control because Hardin wants to actually feel her without a condom. In time of her going to this Dr. West, she ends up finding out something out about her cervix, which leads into him basically bluntly saying this might lead to you not being able to have children, which hurt me because I was like, all Tessa's ever wanted is children. Like, that's my worst nightmare. How it wraps up, or how the book finishes, is Hardin's mom is getting married to a guy named Mike, and it just so happens to be the guy that lived next door to them or something when he was younger. So he finally went to England for the wedding or whatever. Tessa ends up dyeing her hair. I think they get their nails done. They go to like a dress fitting, which is where they, you know, meet lunch, and they go to this dress fitting or whatever with this girl, and it just so happens to be the aunt of Natalie. So Tessa ends up meeting Natalie at this dress shop, and she comes to terms with like, oh, what had happened. She ends up apologizing on Hardin's behalf and ends up settling with it. She's like, okay, she's nice, like, she's cool, whatever. And the wedding is supposed to be placed on the next day or whatever. So they go to bed, and Hardin wakes up, and I'm assuming he goes to get a glass of water. I think that's what it was said. And he goes downstairs, and he starts hearing stuff. So he goes downstairs, and he literally sees something that he never thought he'd ever seen in his entire life. Trish and Vance. And oh my god, when I read that, I was like, what the hell, Anna? Now we gotta get out of here. So Tessa, you know, goes into the initiative of, I have to be the one that like gets us out of here. She packs the stuff up, doesn't even think twice about it, goes to a hotel, bang bang, like they're in a shower the next thing you know, and not like shower like, oh, like like shower, but like she's being there for him. And I want to say at one point he starts crying, and it's just a really, really sweet scene. It's a very intimate scene without being intimate, if you know what I mean. Christian Vance kept calling Tessa, and she's like, he keeps saying like, I need you to get Hardin to like talk to me. Like, I need to tell him something. So in the meantime, Tessa meets up with Kimberly and Smith, which Smith is Vance's son from a previous marriage, and Kimberly is the fiance of Vance. Like, Hardin's snapping on Vance, like, what the hell, why would you do that with my mom the day before her wedding? Like, do you have any kind of soul, blah 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 blah. And he turns away to turn back, he like turns away, I want to say, like turns his back towards Vance, and the girl calls out and goes, well, that's not any way to talk to your father. And as soon as he turns around, it's like Hardin gets the snap of like, the f are you talking about? And then he's like, wait a second. And it dawns on him that Vance is his father. Us finding out that Ken is not actually Hardin's dad, it's Christian. And I thought that was so funny. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, let me know some good books, and I will be reading them for you and do some book reviews for you. So I hope you guys love this story, or have been, you know, involved with it since the beginning. I'm obsessed with this. Thank you, Anna Todd, so much for blessing me with this. I genuinely love this series. It's changed me as a person for the better. I don't know, I've really invested my time in these characters, and I've fallen in love with them, so of course I feel like I know them. It's just, it's insane. And also, so like I said, I've read all 4 of the after books, but I have before to read because I read online somewhere that if you want to read Hardin's perspective and different sides of the story as far as other people's perspectives, then you should read before. And right now I'm on Natalie's perspective. I'm only on like page 9, but I'm on Natalie's perspective, so that should be really interesting. But anyways, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you back for another one.